Welcome to another dark confession from the province of Skyrim. Today we are exploring what it truly means to be possessed by a Daedric artifact, the slow corruption that follows, and the horrifying realization that you can no longer remember who you were before the whispers began. You have heard the legends, the power of the Ebony Blade, the domination of Molag Bal's mace, the lethal precision of Mehrunes Razor. But nobody talks about what these artifacts actually do to the people who wield them. Nobody mentions the voices that never stop, the personality that slowly erodes, the moment you realize your body is no longer entirely yours. This is the story of one person's descent into complete corruption, a warning written in blood by someone who learned too late that some power is not worth the cost. And if you genuinely enjoy this kind of dark storytelling, consider subscribing and liking the channel, but only if it truly resonates with you. I need you to understand something before I finish this. Before the poison takes me, before whatever is left of me slips away into whatever darkness waits for people like me, this is not a story. This is a warning written in my own blood, and if you are smart, if you value the person you were when you woke up this morning, you will listen. It started with the Ebony Blade. I found it in Dragon's Reach. Behind that locked door everyone whispers about. You have probably heard the rumours yourself. The Jarl's dark child. They call little Nelkir, the boy who knows secrets he should not know. The whispering lady behind the door. I thought I was doing something noble. I thought I was saving that child from whatever darkness had taken root in his mind. I was wrong. The darkness was not in that room. The darkness was the room, and I opened it anyway. The moment my fingers wrapped around the hilt, I felt it, a pulse, not a heartbeat, exactly. Something colder, something that moved through the metal and into my skin like ice water, flooding through veins. It was not painful. That is what made it so easy to ignore. It felt like strength. It felt like purpose. It felt like someone had finally handed me the power I deserved after years of scraping by in this frozen province. That should have been my first warning. When something feels too right, too perfect, it is because it is not yours. It belongs to something else, and you are just borrowing it until the bill comes due. The whispers started that same night. Not loud ones. Not the kind that make you jump or reach for a weapon. These were quiet. Patient, like someone standing just behind your shoulder, close enough that you could feel their breath but far enough that you could not quite make out their face. The voice was female, smooth as silk dragged across bare skin. She called herself a friend. She said I had potential. She said the blade and I were meant for each other. I believed her because I wanted to believe her. Because after a lifetime of being told I was not strong enough, not brave enough, not important enough, here was someone telling me I was special. She told me the blade needed to feed, that it had been locked away too long, starved of its true purpose. All I had to do was give it what it wanted. Blood from someone who trusted me, someone close. Just once, she said, just to awaken its power. Then I would see what it could truly do. Then I would understand. I told myself I would not do it. I told myself I was stronger than whatever trick this thing was trying to play. I was wrong about that too. The problem with whispers is they do not stop. They do not need to shout. They just keep repeating over and over until the words stop sounding like suggestions and start sounding like your own thoughts. After 3 days, I could not remember if I had thought of using the blade on Janassa, my follower, or if the voice had suggested it. After a week, I did not care. She had been with me through 24 dungeons. She trusted me with her life. That made her perfect. I killed her in a Dwemer ruin outside Markarth. Told her to check the room ahead while I watched the corridor. She walked through the door. I followed. The blade went through her back so smoothly it barely felt like resistance at all. Just a whisper of friction and then warmth spreading across my hands. She turned and looked at me. Not with anger, not with fear, Just confusion. Like she could not understand why I would do this. She died not knowing. That is the part that still wakes me up sometimes, in the few hours I manage to sleep. She died confused, because I did not even have the decency to explain it to her, because I could not, because by then I did not fully understand it myself. The blade hummed. I felt it drink, felt something flow from her body, through the metal, and into me. Strength, raw and electric and intoxicating. For exactly 3 seconds, I felt like I could take on the world. Then the voice came back, purring, satisfied, hungry for more. 1 friend down, 9 to go. What do you think really happened here? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I would like to know if I am the only one who feels this way. I tried to stop after the second kill, tried to throw the blade into a river outside Riften. My hand would not let go. That was when I realized my hand was not entirely mine anymore. My fingers locked around the hilt like they had been welded there. I pulled. I screamed. I begged. The blade stayed exactly where it was, and the voice laughed. Soft and low and delighted. She told me I was being dramatic. She told me I knew what I wanted. She told me to stop fighting and finish what I had started. I managed to get the blade into the water anyway, forced my hand open through sheer will and watched it sink. I stood there for 20 minutes, feeling lighter than I had in days, feeling free. Then I heard someone call my name from the road. When I turned around, the ebony blade was lying on the ground beside me, dry, not even a drop of water on it. The voice whispered in my ear, "You cannot get rid of me that easily. We are bound now. You and I. Finish the task or carry me forever. Your choice." I finished the task. I will spare you the details of every kill because they all blur together after a while. Friends, allies, people who had fought beside me, who had saved my life, who had shared mead with me around campfires and laughed at my jokes and trusted me. I killed them all, one by one. Each death fed the blade. Each death made it sharper, stronger, more effective, and each death made me less. I stopped sleeping through the night, stopped eating regular meals. My reflection in the water started looking like someone else, someone thinner, someone with eyes that did not quite sit right in their face, someone whose smile had too many teeth. The ebony blade was not my last mistake, just my first. Because once you cross that line, once you prove you are willing to betray the people who trust you, the other Daedric Princes take notice. They start reaching out, offering deals, dangling power in front of you like you are a starving dog and they are holding fresh meat just out of reach. I told myself I would stop after Mephala. I told myself the ebony blade was enough. I told myself I would never touch another Daedric artifact. Then I met Molag Bal. His quest was different, more direct. He did not bother with whispers or seduction. He just told me what he wanted. Bring a priest to his altar, break the priest's will, kill him, take the mace as payment. Simple, clean, honest, in its own way. At least Molag Bal did not pretend to be my friend. At least he did not dress up domination as partnership. He was a god who wanted a mortal to suffer, and he was willing to pay me for the privilege of making it happen. I took the job because the voice from the ebony blade told me I should, because Mephala and Molag Bal have history, tangled and dark and older than any empire, and she wanted me to have his toy too. I dragged Logrolf the Willful to that altar. I beat him with a rusty mace until he begged Molag Bal for mercy. Then I killed him. The mace hummed to life in my hands, no longer rusty but gleaming and sharp and heavy with power. It drained stamina. It drained magic. It trapped souls. Every person I killed with it, I felt their essence pulled from their body and shoved into a gem. Fuel for enchantments, fuel for power, fuel for me. The mace and the blade did not like sharing space. I felt them fight for dominance inside my head. Mephala whispering about secrets and betrayal. Molag Bal roaring about submission and control. 2 gods, 2 artifacts, and 1 mortal body caught between them like a rope in a game of tug-of-war. I started losing time. Hours would vanish. I would come back to myself, standing over bodies I did not remember killing, holding weapons I did not remember drawing. My hands were always bloody, my clothes always stained, my pack always heavier with the weight of stolen goods I had no memory of taking. Then I found Mehrunes' razor. Or maybe it found me. By that point, I was not sure if I was choosing these artifacts or if they were choosing me. The dagger called to me from the moment I walked into Silas's museum. Quiet, insistent, hungry. Mehrunes Dagon is the prince of destruction and ambition, and his blade is a perfect expression of both. 1 cut, 1 chance. Instant death if the stars align. I told Silas I would help him rebuild it. I told him I was a scholar interested in Daedric history. I told him whatever he wanted to hear. Then, when the pieces were assembled and Mehrunes Dagon offered me the choice, I killed Silas without hesitation, took the razor, added it to the collection. 3 artifacts, 3 princes, 3 voices screaming in my head at all hours of the day and night. Mephala wanted blood from loved ones. Molag Bal wanted submission from enemies. Mehrunes Dagon wanted chaos and ambition and destruction for its own sake. They did not agree on much, but they all agreed on one thing. I belonged to them now. My body was their weapon. My will was their plaything. My soul was up for grabs, and the bidding war had only just begun. People started noticing. That is the thing about corruption. You can hide it from yourself for a while, tell yourself you are still in control, still the same person you were before, but you cannot hide it from the people who know you, who knew you. Past tense, because by the time they started asking questions, the person they knew was already gone. Lydia was the first to say something. My housecarl. She had followed me across half of Skyrim, fought beside me in Nordic ruins and forsworn camps and dragon burial mounds. She had earned the right to speak her mind. We were in Bree's home, and I was cleaning the Ebony Blade. Again, I cleaned it constantly by then, obsessively, even though it never stayed dirty. Even though the blood always vanished by morning, pooled into the metal like water into sand. She asked me if I was sleeping. I told her I was fine. She asked me about Janassa, about the others who had travelled with us and then disappeared. I told her they had moved on, found other work. She did not believe me. I could see it in her eyes, that flicker of doubt, that moment when someone you trust starts looking at you like you might be dangerous, like you might be something other than what you claim to be. She reached for her sword, not drawing it, just resting her hand on the hilt. A warning. I should have let her go, should have told her to leave Whiterun and never look back. Instead, the Ebony Blade was in my hand before I even registered moving. The voices were screaming, all 3 of them, telling me she was a threat, telling me she had to go, telling me I had come too far to stop now over sentiment. I did not kill her, not right away. That is what I tell myself when the memories get too loud. I fought it. I stood there with the blade raised, and my hand shaking and sweat pouring down my face, and I fought every god and artifact that had sunk their claws into me. For exactly 7 seconds, I was stronger than them. Then Lydia made the mistake of stepping forward, of reaching for me like she could help, like she could save me from whatever she saw happening. Her hand touched my shoulder, and something inside me snapped. The blade moved. My body moved. I was a passenger in my own skin, watching through eyes that felt like windows. She fought back. Of course she fought back. Lydia was a warrior, but I was faster now, stronger. The artifacts had made sure of that. They had been feeding on my kills, growing fat on betrayal and domination and destruction, and they poured all that stolen strength back into me when I needed it. When they needed it, I cut her down in my own home. in the house Jarl Balgruf had given me as a reward for saving Whiterun from a dragon. The irony was not lost on me, even then, even as I watched her blood pool on the wooden floor. When it was over, when my hand was mine again, and the blade was quiet, and Lydia was still, I sat down beside her body and cried. The voices did not comfort me. They did not apologize. Mephala just whispered that the blade was almost at full power. Molag Bal told me I was learning what it meant to dominate. Mehrunes Dagon laughed and said I was finally embracing my ambition. They spoke over each other, a chorus of divine approval, and I realized something that made my stomach turn. They were proud of me. I had done exactly what they wanted. I was becoming exactly what they needed. A perfect tool, a willing weapon, a mortal so broken and corrupted that I would do anything they asked without question. I left Whiterun that night. Could not stand to be in that house anymore. Could not stand to see what I had done. The guards asked questions, but I had an answer for everything by then. Lydia had been sent on a mission to solitude. Lydia had decided to join the Imperial Legion. Lydia had family business in Cyrodiil. Lies came easily now, smooth as the whispers, comfortable as the weight of the artifacts I carried. I started hearing them even when I was not holding them. That was new. That was worse. Before, I could put the ebony blade down and have a few hours of silence, could leave the mace in my pack and pretend I was normal for a little while. But after Lydia, after proving I would kill even the people closest to me, the barriers broke down completely. The princes did not need the artifacts to reach me anymore. They were inside my head, permanent residents. I would be walking through a market and hear Mephala suggesting I poison the merchant's stew. I would be talking to a beggar and hear Molag Bal demanding I force them to worship him. I would be sitting in a tavern and hear Mehrunes Dagon urging me to burn it down just to watch it happen. The worst part was not the voices. The worst part was how much sense they started making, how their logic began to feel like my logic, how their desires began to feel like my desires. I stopped being able to tell where they ended, and I began. My personality was eroding, washing away like soil in a river. The person I had been before the artifacts, cautious, loyal, someone who helped people because it felt right, that person was becoming a ghost, a memory. A story I told myself about who I used to be before I knew better. If you have ever wondered what choice you would make in a situation like this, tell me in the comments. I will be reading them. Friends started avoiding me. Not obviously, not with confrontation or accusation. They just stopped being available when I came around, stopped answering my questions, stopped meeting my eyes. I watched it happen in real time. Watched people who had welcomed me into their homes suddenly remember urgent business whenever I approached. Watched conversations die when I entered a room. Watched the warmth drain from faces that used to smile at my arrival. They could sense it. Whatever I had become, whatever was wearing my skin and speaking with my voice. They knew it was not entirely me anymore. Animals knew too. Horses refused to let me ride them. Dogs growled when I passed. Even the chickens in Riverwood scattered when I walked through town, like they could smell the death and corruption that clung to me like acted. Smoke. I tried to stop. One more time. One last attempt at being human. I travelled to the throat of the world, climbed all the way to High Hrothgar and begged the Greybeards to help me. Told them everything. Showed them the artifacts. Asked them if there was a way to break the connection, to sever the bonds the princes had wrapped around my soul. Master Arngir listened. He did not interrupt. He did not judge. When I finished, he was quiet for a long time. Then he told me the truth I already knew but had been refusing to accept. Daedric artifacts are not just weapons. They are extensions of their princes, pieces of divine will made physical. Once you accept them, once you use them for their intended purpose, you create a bond that cannot be broken by mortal means. The artifacts do not possess you. They become you. They rewrite you from the inside out until there is no difference between the wielder and the weapon. He offered to keep the artifacts at High Hrothgar, to lock them away where I could not reach them. I agreed, handed over the Ebony Blade, the Mace of Molag Bal, and Mehrunes Razor, watched him carry them to a sealed chamber deep in the monastery, felt the weight lift from my shoulders, felt the voices grow distant, faint, almost gone. I stayed at High Hrothgar for 3 days, 3 days of silence, 3 days of meditation and prayer and trying to remember who I used to be, 3 days of the closest thing to peace I had felt in months. On the 4th day, I woke up with all 3 artifacts in my bed beside me, gleaming in the dawn light, waiting. The voices came back all at once, a tidal wave of divine attention that nearly knocked me unconscious. They were angry, furious. How dare I try to leave them? How dare I try to break our agreement? Did I think I could just walk away? Did I think they would let me go after everything I had done in their names? I was theirs, bound by blood and betrayal and ambition. The artifacts would follow me to the edge of the world and beyond. They would never let me rest, never let me be free, never let me be anything other than what they had made me. Master Arngir found me screaming in my room. He did not ask what happened. He just looked at me with something like pity and told me to leave. Told me that High Hrothgar was a place of peace and I had brought war into its halls. He was right. I was a walking wound now. A tear in reality where the Daedric Princes could reach through and touch the world. Everywhere I went, corruption followed. I was not a person anymore. I was a doorway. And the things on the other side were very, very eager to step through. The addiction was complete by then. I needed the artifacts like I needed air. When I tried to go more than a few hours without touching them, without feeling their weight in my hands, I started to shake, started to sweat, started to hear whispers that were not even words anymore, just raw need and hunger and rage. The princes had me exactly where they wanted me, dependent, desperate, willing to do anything to make the craving stop. So I did what they asked. I killed when they wanted blood. I dominated when they wanted submission. I destroyed when they wanted chaos. My body moved like a puppet, and 3 gods held the strings, and I had stopped fighting because fighting hurt more than obeying. I stopped keeping track of the bodies, stopped learning their names. They were just targets now, obstacles, offerings to gods who would never be satisfied no matter how much I fed them. The worst part was how good I had gotten at it, how efficient, how cold. I had become everything I swore I would never be, and it had happened so gradually I barely noticed the transformation until it was complete. If this story has kept you listening this far, and you want more of these dark confessions from Skyrim, hit that subscribe button. It tells me someone out there is still paying attention to warnings like these. The point of no return came in. Riften. I remember it clearly because it was the last time I tried to resist, the last time the person I used to be fought back with anything resembling real strength. I was standing in the Bee and Barb, and a young Nord woman approached me. She could not have been more than 20. She said her brother had gone missing in a Dwemer ruin outside the city. She said people told her I was a hero, that I helped people, that if anyone could find him and bring him home, it was me. She looked at me with hope in her eyes, real, genuine hope. Like I was something good in a world full of darkness. I opened my mouth to tell her no, to tell her to find someone else, to tell her I was not what she thought I was. But the words that came out were not mine. They were smooth, confident, exactly what she needed to hear. Of course I would help. Of course I would find her brother. Of course she could trust me. The voices purred their approval as she smiled and thanked me, and promised to pay me whatever she could afford. Mephala whispered about new opportunities. Molag Bal rumbled about fresh prey. Mehrunes Dagon laughed about the beautiful tragedy that was about to unfold. I found her brother in the ruin. He was alive. Injured, but alive. He had fallen through a weak floor and broken his leg. Could not climb out on his own. He saw me and actually cried with relief. Started talking about his sister, about how worried she must be, about how grateful he was that someone had come, about how he knew everything would be okay now. I pulled him out of the pit, set his leg, gave him a healing potion, watched the gratitude and trust flood his face. Then I drew Mehrunes' razor and opened his throat before he could even register what was happening. The dagger's enchantment did not trigger, no instant death, just regular death. Slow and choking and confused, he tried to ask me why, could not get the words out through the blood. I did not have an answer for him anyway. There was no reason, no logic, no justification, just 3 Daedric Princes demanding entertainment, and a mortal too corrupted to tell them no. I took his valuables, left his body in the ruin, went back to Riften and told his sister I had found him dead, killed by Falmer, nothing I could do. She cried on my shoulder, thanked me for trying, gave me what little gold she had as payment for recovering his remains. Remains I would never recover because they were evidence, because they proved what I had become. I felt nothing. That was what finally broke me. Not guilt, not shame, not horror, nothing. I had killed an innocent man for no reason other than my masters demanded it, and I felt absolutely nothing. The person who would have been devastated by that act, who would have thrown down the artifacts and walked into the wilderness to die rather than continue, that person was gone. Eroded away by months of whispers and corruption and divine manipulation, I was hollow now, an empty shell that moved and spoke and looked human but contained nothing recognizable as a soul. The artifacts controlled everything by then. What I ate, when I slept, where I went, who I spoke to. I was a passenger in my own body, watching from somewhere deep inside as my hands committed atrocities I would have died to prevent just a year earlier. The princes spoke constantly now, not even bothering to wait for quiet moments. They talked over each other, through each other, arguing about what I should do next. Mephala wanted me to infiltrate the Thieves' Guild and corrupt it from within. Molag Bal wanted me to establish a cult in his name. Mehrunes Dagon wanted me to burn down a city. Just pick one. Anyone would do. They were not even pretending to need reasons anymore. They just wanted destruction because destruction was what they were. And I was their instrument, their favourite toy, their perfect servant. I started forgetting who I was before. The memories were still there, technically, but they felt distant, faded, like stories someone had told me about a stranger. I could remember my name, could remember where I came from, could remember my family, my childhood, the dreams I used to have about adventure and heroism and making a difference in the world. But none of it felt real. None of it felt like it belonged to me. It was like remembering a character from a book I had read years ago, familiar but foreign, recognizable but not mine. People stopped using my name, started calling me the Cursed One, the Daedra's Pet, the Betrayer, the Mad Blade. Titles that fit better than my birth name ever did, because that is what I had become. Not a person, a title, a warning. A story parents told their children about what happens when you bargain with forces you do not understand. Stay away from Daedric shrines. Do not touch artifacts that whisper. Do not make deals with princes who smile with too many teeth. Look what happened to them. Look what they became. The worst part about losing yourself is not the dramatic moment of realization. It is the slow, creeping awareness that you cannot remember the last time you made a decision that was truly yours. Cannot remember the last thought that did not have a whisper underneath it. Cannot remember what your own voice sounds like without the echo of something ancient and hungry speaking through it. I would try to recall my favourite food, my favourite colour, my favourite anything, and come up empty. Those details had been overwritten, replaced with preferences that served the artifacts. I liked blood now, liked the weight of weapons in my hands, liked the sound people made when they realized they were about to die. Those were not my preferences, but I could not remember what mine had been, could not access the person who used to exist behind these eyes. I tried one final time to end it, climb to the top of the throat of the world, stood at the very edge where the wind screams and the snow never stops falling, and threw myself off. Thought maybe if I died, the connection would break. Thought maybe the princes would lose interest in a corpse. Thought wrong. I woke up at the bottom of the mountain, completely unharmed, the artifacts arranged neatly beside me, Mephala laughing, Molag Bal mocking my weakness, Mehrunes Razor telling me I belonged to them in life and death and everything in between. I could not even die without their permission. They had claimed every piece of me, even the ending. So I kept going, because what else could I do? Kept walking through Skyrim with 3 gods in my head, and blood on my hands, and a face I barely recognized in reflections. Kept killing when they asked, kept corrupting when they demanded, kept destroying, because that was all I knew how to do anymore. The Dragonborn, they called me, Slayer of Alduin, Saviour of Skyrim, Champion of the people, the greatest lie ever told. Because there was nothing heroic left in me, nothing worth saving, just artifacts wearing a mortal shape and pretending to be human. I am writing this in a cave outside Markarth, the same city where I killed Logrolf and earned Molag Bal's mace, full circle, poetic, in a horrible way. I have taken poison, nightshade, mixed with deathbell and vampire dust, enough to kill a mammoth. It is working its way through my system now. I can feel it, cold spreading from my stomach to my limbs, vision getting dark around the edges, breathing getting harder. The voices are screaming, furious that I found a way to slip free, furious that I am choosing this ending instead of the one they had planned. Let them scream, let them rage. For the first time in months, I am making a choice that is mine. The artifacts are on the ground beside me, gleaming in the torchlight, beautiful and terrible and hungry. They will wait here until someone else picks them up. Some other fool who thinks they can control the uncontrollable. Some other victim who does not understand that Daedric artifacts do not give power, they take it. They hollow you out and fill the space with themselves until there is nothing left but appetite. If you find this note, if you find these weapons, please listen to what I am telling you. Leave them here. Walk away. The power they offer is real. The strength is real. The magic is real. But the cost is everything you are, everything you ever were, everything you ever could have been. They do not possess you. They become you. And by the time you realize what has happened, there is nothing left to save. No way back. No redemption. Just an eternity of being a puppet for gods who see you as entertainment. I cannot remember my mother's face, cannot remember my father's laugh, cannot remember what I wanted to be when I grew up, or what my favourite meal tasted like, or what made me happy before the whispers started. All of that is gone, deleted, overwritten by Mephala and Molag Bal and Mehrunes Razor. They took everything, left me with nothing but the knowledge of what I have done and the understanding that I will never be forgiven for any of it. Not by the gods, not by the people I killed, not by myself. The cold is reaching my heart now, getting hard to think, hard to see. The voices are fading, growing distant. Maybe in death they will finally leave me alone. Maybe whatever waits on the other side will be better than this. Or maybe I am bound to them forever. Maybe I will wake up in Cold Harbour, or the Spiral Skein, or the Deadlands, and this will have all been for nothing. But at least I tried. At least in these final moments, I chose something. I chose to stop. I chose to end it before they could push me to commit one more atrocity in their names. Do not touch the artifacts. Do not listen to the whispers. Do not think you are special or strong enough to resist. You are not. Nobody is. The Daedric Princes have eternity to break you down, and you only have one lifetime to hold out. The math does not work in your favour. Please learn from my mistake. Please be smarter than I was. Please walk away while you still remember who you are. My name was, I cannot remember. That tells you everything you need to know.